Hello and welcome to this video on testing your WordPress development knowledge. The topic that we're going to be doing today is testing you on whether you can add functionality to a menu button that you've created on your admin dashboard menu page, and whether you can create a table using that button. So these can be used in generally just to test your WordPress development knowledge, but also it cements that knowledge that we've done in my last tutorial on making these menu buttons and tables in our WordPress plugin. Okay, so here are the questions. Stop the video and see if you can answer them. I will go through them afterwards. Also, I have put the questions in the description below so you can have a look at it there. If you get all 9 right, then I would love for you to leave a comment, explain, improve, or disagree with any of my answers in the video. If you've got 4 or plus, I would suggest going back and watching my tutorial video on creating multiple menu buttons in that dashboard. And if you get less than that, don't worry. Keep up the revision, keep up learning, and have a look at some of my fundamental WordPress videos. Okay, so hopefully you've stopped the video. Let's go through some of the answers. So the first question is, how do we set specific character set for a table? So this is the code. If we look at the bottom here, this is this is the variable that we've put in that determines what character set we want for this table. So remember, we have the brackets there that has our SQL statement, and then the next value is the character set. Now, if you're interested in learning a bit more about what a character set is and what it does, then I'm just going to go onto a website that you can have a read, and I'll put the link in the description below. So this article just introduces us to what character set is and what character encoding is for WordPress. It tells you, explains why it's important to know, and if you go down, it kind of talks about certain families of character sets and the kind of character sets you can encounter in WordPress. So if you were not able to answer the question, I suggest going to this article and having a read about that. Okay, so I've created an SQL Create statement here, and I wanted to use the WordPress default character set. So if you use the global class WPTP, you can go into your WP config file using this method. And so first you have to make it available by using this global thing. Then you can get the get character set kind of method, and it goes into that and finds it out. And then you can assign that into your SQL statement. And what this means is that if you're creating a new table, then you can kind of match it up with the other tables that have been created using the same character set. So if you want to create a table, you have to use this database delta. What does it allow us to do? Well, this function examines the current table structure and compares it to the desired table structure that you want, and then either adds or modifies it. So if you're creating a new table, then the table structure that there is nothing, and so it will add in the missing segments based on your SQL statements. So if you are adding or modifying a table, this is very useful to know how to do. But what do we need to access to get this? Well, we need to use the require once and then access this upgrade PHP file. So you need to know where to access this, and then you need to know what it does. So for example, for our code to work from our previous SQL statement, we can just put that function in and then put that SQL statement that we created earlier. So this will be an interesting answer. I'm sure in the comments there'll be a lot of other advice or disagreement. So the database delta is a little fussy. It's a bit picky in how you write your SQL statements. So there's a couple of things that you need to remember. Always put each field in its own line. You must have 2 spaces between the primary key and the definition of that. You must use key instead of indexed, and you should not use any quotation marks or anything around your field names and column names. So again, if we go backwards, they're all on each line. The column names should not have any quotation marks around them. They just should be normal. And the primary key, you can see there's a bigger gap there. Okay, so if you have any more advice, add it in the comments, but just bear in mind that this is a little fiddly, and if there is an error, just have a look whether your formatting matches the things that the database Delta wants. Okay, so now we talk a little bit about making that menu button. If you want to attach a hook to your code, so when you press this form button that sends that data to the admin post, it executes a method inside your class. Then you have to add the admin_post_ and then the variable that you created in your form. So that has to match up, and then once that is loaded in that admin post, it will search what is this value. If it's the same, it'll execute the method that you've attached onto that hook. So let's have a look here. If we create a simple form that sends the data to the admin post and it links up. So we've got our little form here. Importantly, we're echoing it to the admin post section, and then the value here is create table, and then you can label the button whatever you want. So what that means is when that's clicked, here matches up, so we have create table here, so _create table, this will be the same, and so when it's clicked, this method will be executed there. Number 8, what WordPress function allows us to change the URL safely? We can use this WP safe redirect URL, and it allows us to safely change or redirect the user. And the last question, why should we always use the X function after we redirect? I think it's best practices. So in the codex in WordPress, it says this does not automatically exit, and so you should always kind of follow this up by calling the exit function. So it's again just best practices. So thank you very much. It'll be interesting to see how you did. Leave a comment if you got 9 out of 9, or you thought there was extra information that would be useful to the learners or to the viewers that are listening. Do remember that this section of this test is testing knowledge that I covered in my tutorial about making multiple menu buttons that creates tables. So if you're interested in that, watch the video. But thank you, and hopefully you've cemented the knowledge on adding multiple buttons and tables in WordPress. And if you're interested, have a look at my other projects where I look at creating a matrix animational plugin or a Valentine's Day plugin. Each week I'll be releasing videos, so if you want more of these, please subscribe, leave a comment or like, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.